Imagine walking into a house and instantly feeling like you are not welcome. The air is heavy. The silence feels wrong. And before long, you realize you're not alone. This is the story of the Hinsdale house, one of the most terrifying and least understood hauntings in America. A story that still scares even the most experienced paranormal investigators. And the creepiest part? No matter how many times it has been blessed, the haunting never stops. The House in the Hills. In the small, quiet town of Hinsdale, New York, there stands an old farmhouse, surrounded by thick trees and lonely hills. To strangers, it looks peaceful, almost ordinary. But to locals, it's a place they avoid after dark. The house was built in the 1800s, and over the decades, families came and went. But many of them left in a hurry. They spoke of strange voices, unexplained shadows, and a deep feeling of dread that seemed to seep into anyone who stayed too long. Still, in the 1970s, a family named the Dandys decided to move in. They thought it would be a new beginning. A quiet life in the countryside. They had no idea what was waiting for them. The first signs. At first, the haunting seemed small, whispers in empty rooms, lights flickering without cause, and a strange heaviness in the air at night. But soon, it grew worse. The children would wake up screaming, claiming to see faces floating above their beds. The mother felt like she was being watched constantly, and the father began hearing footsteps in the attic, even though no one was up there. Then came the voices, sometimes calling their names, other times chanting in a language no one understood. The family tried to ignore it, but the more they ignored it, the more violent the haunting became. One night, the Dandys looked outside their window and froze in terror. Standing in the woods behind the house were several hooded figures, silent, still, watching the house. The figures never came closer, but they didn't disappear either. The family shut the curtains and prayed, but when they looked again, the figures were still there. This wasn't imagination. Neighbors later admitted they too had seen strange gatherings in those woods, as if dark rituals had taken place there long before. The land itself seemed poisoned by something ancient, something that refused to leave. The attacks. The spirits inside the house grew more aggressive. Doors slammed shut with violent force. Objects flew across the rooms, smashing into walls. The children were scratched by invisible hands, and the mother swore she was almost dragged out of bed one night. The family started sleeping with the lights on. But even then, they could hear voices whispering in the hallways. Sometimes the voices came from right beside their beds. Imagine trying to protect your children from something you cannot see, something you cannot fight. The Dandys were trapped in a nightmare, and there was no way out. The exorcism. Finally, in desperation, the family reached out for help. Father Alphonsus, a Catholic priest, agreed to perform an exorcism inside the home. The ritual was long and tense. Holy water was sprinkled. Prayers were chanted. For a moment, the house went quiet. But then, it fought back. The lights flickered. A growl echoed through the rooms, and the air grew ice cold. The priest continued, commanding the spirits to leave, but the house resisted. In the end, the exorcism failed, and the activity only became worse. Even the priest admitted this was one of the darkest presences he had ever faced, a force that could not be removed. The escape. Terrified and exhausted, the Dandys finally gave up. They packed their belongings and abandoned the house, leaving behind memories they wished they could erase. But even as they drove away, they felt it as if the house was still watching them, as if it was alive. The farmhouse remained empty for years, but those brave enough to enter reported the same things: whispers, scratches, and the overwhelming feeling that someone or something was right behind them. The present day. Today, the Hinsdale house still stands. Paranormal investigators from around the world have visited, and nearly all report terrifying experiences. EVP recordings capture voices whispering, some even calling out names of people inside the room. Visitors have been scratched, shoved, and left trembling in fear. And upstairs in the bedrooms, many report the same nightmare: a dark figure, standing in the corner. No one has been able to explain why the house is haunted. Some believe the land itself holds a dark history. Others say rituals from long ago opened a doorway that can never be closed. But one thing is certain: the Hinsdale house is not empty, and it may never be. So the question is, Would you dare step inside? And if you did, would you ever come out the same? If you love chilling true stories like this, make sure to subscribe to Study Nick, because the next haunting we uncover might be even darker.